Hey there everyone, this is Sean with Pew Pew Tactical, and today we're taking a Law and Order look. Wait, are you going to play that noise every time I say that? Okay. Today we're taking a Law and Order look at the staccato P. Now you might be wondering, what does that mean? Staccato, formerly STI, is well known for their 2011s, and recently they came out with the Model P. They claim this is approved for duty use by more than 325 law enforcement agencies. I'm originally from the Show Me state, so I intended to find out for myself if the gun was worthy of that role. My background is 22 and a half years in law enforcement, the last 7 of which I was a post-certified handgun instructor. I taught at my agency and occasionally at the local police academy. I've served in a number of different roles over those 2 decades and have carried and trained with several different handguns during my career. At one point, I carried a Kimber Warrior on duty, so I took great interest when I heard the gun that won 2 world wars was getting an update. This was my first encounter with a 2011, so I was pretty excited to check it out. So after 100 years added to a gun's legacy, how did Staccato evolve the 1911? What are the main differences? First off, the general aesthetic is still the same. Those familiar with the lines of the 1911 will recognize that DNA in the 2011. The first big difference you notice is the grip. I've always appreciated the narrow but hefty feel of John Moses Browning's Beauty, but the grip on the Staccato is much thicker. This was done in order to accommodate the double-stacked 9mm magazines. When you dig into the gun and take it apart, you notice some major differences. The frame is made from either steel or aluminum and has a polymer exterior. This allows for increased capacity and helps mitigate some of the recoil. Plus, the outer texture is grippy. It's got a raised pattern like an all-terrain tire that really hooks up in your palms. In addition, there's no barrel bushing. Shooters compress the guide rod and spring until it clip sticks out. This catches on the end of the muzzle and locks the compressed spring in place for removal. This is called the Dawson Precision Toolless Guide Rod, and it is a much appreciated improvement. The safety and hammer are still there, as is the slide stop. The skeletonized trigger gives the impression of a higher-end 1911. There were a couple of questions I set out to answer with this test. I wanted to see how the 2011 was improved for the average officer on the street, and if Staccato was able to keep some of the qualities I loved about the 1911 while improving some of the shortcomings. Okay, take a breath. I can already hear the keyboards clacking. I carried a 1911 on duty, which means I hold it in the highest regard, but it doesn't mean that it can't be improved upon. I practically ran to the range when the Staccatos came in. That's right, I said Staccatos. They sent 2 Ps, an aluminum frame and a steel frame. Before all was said and done, I'd test both and develop some preferences. Starting out though, I ran the aluminum frame with a Holosun 507C optic and the steel frame with a Leupold Delta Point Pro. I'm a huge fan of both of these red dots. After testing began, one thing was clear right out of the gate. I'm not used to external safeties anymore. It took some practice to implement that into my draw stroke again. The P comes with a slide lock safety and a grip safety. There's a philosophy associated with these, particularly as it applies to law enforcement. They serve as the final layers of officer safety should de-escalation and weapon retention tactics fail. With a good grip established, I started banging away and was delighted. Going back to a hammer-fired weapon is like reuniting with an old familiar lover. What? Gone was the achingly long, sometimes squishy trigger pull so commonly associated with striker-fired guns. Nope, this was sheer point-and-click joy with a short, crisp break and reset. Mine averaged just over 2.5 pounds on a Lyman digital gauge, though Staccato lists it at 4 pounds on the website. Looking back down memory lane, I used to love how well I grouped my shots with my 1911. I attributed much of that performance to the trigger, and it felt like the Staccato P would repeat that. At 15 feet, I fired off 3 shots for accuracy. The first and last went through the same hole, but I threw the middle shot about an inch away. Accuracy is strong with the P. Another impression I had was loving the magazines and their added capacity. The P comes with 3 magazines. 2 are 17 rounders and the third is 20. This means officers can walk around with 20 plus 1 in their holster. And another 34 rounds in mag pouches. That first magazine is often the most important for obvious reasons. Moving on to reliability, I fired right around 1,000 rounds through each gun using American Eagle and Blazer, both 115 grains. I also ran some 124 grain SAR USA ammo through the guns. With the exception of 2 stovepipes, the guns ran flawlessly.
Oh, had a malfunction.
I was able to pin this down to 1 box of Blazer, and it didn't happen again. I ran different drills from my academy curriculum during testing and really began to appreciate this new breed of gun, an evolved fighting pistol with a pedigree. Both Staccatos were fantastic. So here's a few things to think about. In ergonomics, the grip is really big. I wear a 2X glove and I had to make adjustments. While I could reach the mag release, I couldn't reach the slide stop lever without adjusting my grip. It is manageable, but police agencies are a lot more diverse nowadays and can't follow the 6-foot rule or better hiring practices of old. Small-handed officers might struggle with this gun a bit at first, but I think the rewards would offset it. The P has ambidextrous controls. I just confirmed with Staccato they have a reversible mag release for the P. Interestingly, I found myself leaning more toward the aluminum frame for preference. Then again, I don't wear a leather duty belt anymore. The steel frame P weighed 2 pounds 3 ounces on my digital scale, while the aluminum was 1 pound and 14 ounces. For reliability, I really believe the 2 stovepipes I experienced were ammo-induced because it didn't happen again during the course of testing. Otherwise, the Ps were perfect. Accuracy, these guns are at least as accurate as my 1911. The excellent trigger combined with the red dots, the fiber optic sights are nice too, and really help with getting on target. Add in the 4.4-inch bull barrel, and you've got a solid package that will deliver laser-like fire if you do your part. One downside is the Staccato P is expensive. The standard version is $2,099, while the optics ready version will set you back $2,399. Compared to a polymer striker-fired gun, this might seem outrageous, but in the world of higher-end 1911s, it's entry-level to average. Law enforcement administrators have to take a different perspective on things, and they might just weigh heavily in favor of the improved accuracy their officers will enjoy with this 2011. It's sometimes tragic to put a number on how much a miss costs, but it does happen. Overall, this is an outstanding firearm. I feel like Staccato honored the past of the 1911 with due reverence while vastly modernizing the design to fit challenging role officers face today. You might wonder how this information applies to the civilian customer, and to me, that's pretty simple. Whether you love, hate, or feel indifferent about law enforcement, they can, at a moment's notice, be called upon to use a firearm to save their life or that of someone else. To me, this means the equipment they use must be of the highest quality. Staccato meets that standard. Citizens wanting to harness the P for their own protection needs would be well advised to do so. The accuracy, reliability, and capacity are top-notch. Admittedly, factors like the overall size and mag well would make it a little tough to conceal, but it's possible. I could easily envision the P serving in a dedicated home defender role too. Okay guys, that's going to do it for the Staccato P. It's absolutely capable of serving a role in law enforcement, and it would be a heck of a home defender too. If you want more information on this, please check the links in the description below. We'd like to thank Staccato for sending this over. Proudly made right here in Texas. Yeehaw! Thanks for watching.